Welcome to 24 Hour Sports. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Right now, as you're watching this video, we're 34 subs away from the glorious achievement of 1,000 subs. Details are down below in the description on how to join the free shoe giveaway, where we're announcing the winner when we hit 1,000 subs. Also going to be a description video detailing how exactly to join that further along in this video. But it's time to talk about the draft combine. I've been waiting on this. Past 2 days, extensive research, looking at all my guys, and I'm talking about who popped off my screen. We're just talking about it. I want to start off with day one, but we're also going to talk about day two. But right now, we're getting into these defensive tackles. Calijah Kancey, let's pull him up. Let's talk about his profile. 6'1", 281, scream 3 tech. I said in the players with the most to gain and the most to lose, screams it. And I had him mocked to 18 Detroit Lions in my mock draft. I think he proved that he's deserving of that spot. 4.67 40-yard dash, 1.64 10-yard split. He showed me the twitchiness. It's not much to talk about. He showed me everything that I want to see on tape, and that's what you want with these draft combines. You want players to confirm. He confirmed. Now I want to talk about another guy. And while Calijah Kancey was good, did pop off my screen, this was my best player, best performance at the combine for my defensive tackles, Bryan Bresee. And I said, he needs to show us if he's healthy. He showed me that he's healthy. He talked about it. He had an on-field interview talking with the reporter. He said he's healthy. He's back. The best football is ahead of Bryan Bresee. Let's look at some of his things. 22 reps on the bench press. Not exceptional, but he does display that strength. 1.71 10-yard split, 4.86 40-yard dash. Showed me everything I needed to see. And I said ultra athletic profile. We say Calijah Kancey's more athletic. We shouldn't live and die by 40-yard dashes for these defensive tackles. The 10-yard split is pretty comparable. And I think on the field, on the bags, agility drills, he showed me everything. He showed me he can bend a bit. He showed me he can move side to side. He can react and go and burst. That's all I needed to see from Bryan Bresee. I saw it. I love what he did in those drills. I think his draft stock is going up. Let's talk about another guy, kind of a sleeper, not really a sleeper, but kind of a sleeper, Gervon Dexter. Let's pull up his profile. And the first thing you will see is the size. 6'6", 310. First thing you see is that size. And I mean, we understand the size. 22 reps on the bench press, 7.5 seconds on the 3-cone, 31 inches on the vertical jump, 1.81 on the 10-yard split, 4.88 on the 40-yard dash. Draft him. He's on my team. All right. If I was the GM, he's on my team. He showed me in the bag drills everything I needed to see. A guy standing at 6'6", 310. We look at the arm length. We see the hand size. I think his best football is ahead of him. He was one of the highest ranked high school players, but he didn't have the college career that we kind of expected. We talked about some issues. Why didn't it work? We questioned if he's always ready to go, if he's always playing his hardest. I think in the right team, challenge him, get the best out of Gervon Dexter, because I think there's a lot to be had, a lot of potential. They were comparing him to Chris Jones, and I think from an athletic profile, that's not out of the way. You got a long ways to go if we're talking about production and on-the-field performance, but I think you got a good start, and I think you got the good tools to perform like that. Now, another guy that I want to talk about, Siaki Ika. True nose tackle. It's nothing pretty about these 40 numbers, but we see 6'3", 335. We see some, that's not really pretty. I'm not really here to showcase Siaki Ika's athleticism, all right? He's a nose tackle. You're asking him to hold the point of attack, stop the run. He's going to do just that. And I think what he showed me was he has a motor. He has a motor. While he understands he's not going to shine in these bag drills, in these athletic drills, he did it. He finished through every rep. He didn't get gassed, and that was an important thing that I'm looking for, because at that size, can you go through a drill? Can you go through a full practice, a full game? How many reps can you go? And I think he did good as far as that aspect. A guy that shine for me. The last guy I want to really give some shine to, honorable mention to Zach Pickens. I like what he did, can move at that size. But this is the guy that I want to put my eye on. Dante Stills, 6'3.5", 286. Let's look at his athletic profile. 1.72 10-yard, 4.85 40, 28.5 vertical jump, 7.38 3-cone. All of that, all of the above. Ultra productive at the University of West Virginia. One of their best players, especially as of recent. But he's going to be an interesting guy to watch on draft day. I love what I've seen at the draft combine. Now I want to get into some of these defensive ends, because it was pretty interesting. Defensive end, defensive end, defensive end. I want to talk about true defensive ends before we get into edges. We can kind of mix them in a little bit. But my first true defensive end that I want to look for, Lucas Van Ness. Did anybody see that picture? Lucas Van Ness at that side. Let me pull up his profile because it's not going to do him justice. Lucas Van Ness has 6'5", 272, has a six-pack. Myles Garrett, some of the guys, we want to look at the comparisons. That's a bit far-fetched. Played on the interior for Iowa, projected to play on the edge, but he also has that up and down versatility when he gets to the NFL. And I said him and Myles Murphy didn't perform at the Combine. I said it's between those two. And easily go at number 8 to the Atlanta Falcons. And I said that. I think he made a great case to do that. Showed me athleticism. It wasn't just the 4.58. Because I said I don't live and die by 40-yard dashes. He showed me the bag drills, the agility drills. There's one drill, you got to turn, hip, come back to the ball, catch the ball. Kind of a linebacker drill, DB drill. He looked like he wasn't out of place. He looked like he fit in to be a linebacker at 6'5", 270. So, I kind of fell in love with Lucas Van Ness. And I like what I seen on tape. Like I said, it wasn't a lot of tape on the edge because he played interior. Didn't even really start for the University of Iowa. So his best football, a lot of these guys' best football is ahead of them. And that's kind of scary going into a draft. But he's one of those guys, popped for me at the defensive end position. Talk about another guy who I have here listed. Keon White. Didn't get a 40 out of Keon White, but I think the bag drills were pretty interesting for Keon White. Another guy, Jose Ramirez, an edge. Let's find him right here. Eastern Michigan. One of those kind of mid-round picks. He's a sleeper. Only 6'2", 242. Not the biggest edge, but he was productive at Eastern Michigan. 4.73, 1.63 10-yard split. That's the interesting thing to look at for him. 34.5-inch vertical. Jumped off my screen. These are just some of the guys. Will McDonald, Nolan Smith, 4.39, 41.5-inch vertical. Let's pull up Nolan Smith right here because I talk about him, and he was hurt this year for University of Georgia, 6'2", 238. But I think he solidified himself as a first-round pick. I don't think there's no way he's getting out the first round. And some people, for their scheme, he might not be a fit. But when we talk about ultra athleticism, you want to take those guys that can bend, that can get around the edge, that are elite twitch athletes. And he's in that category. We talk about Micah Parsons, elite twitch. He's not the biggest guy as far as a true big edge that can stop the run. And he even struggles with that today. But where he makes his money is off that edge, bending, being twitchy, being athletic. Nolan Smith showed me he has some of that same stuff. Byron Young out of Tennessee, another guy. Robert Beal out of Georgia. These guys all showed me something. Even Yaya Diaby. Everybody, these guys are getting faster, bigger, stronger. Adebawore was really an interesting one for me. But, Isaiah Foskey showed me some good stuff. I can talk about these guys all day, but I'm not. Nick Herbig, I think a guy whose stock may have gone down. Let me know in the comments for those who know about Nick Herbig, an edge. Let me know what you think about him. Out of Wisconsin, we talking about TJ Watt. He's not TJ Watt. 6'2", 240, kind of undersized. Short arms for an edge player. Kind of a tweener, really, at the edge position. And I thought that, he was kind of in the middle. And I think this day showing that he's not really the ultra-athletic guy, that doesn't mean a lot when we talk about explosiveness and we talk about getting on the field. But this 40 might have been a room for concern for some teams. It was a room for concern for me a bit. So I just wanted to point on that, talk about it for a minute. And now I want to get the off-the-ball linebackers. Also, Will Anderson, a guy that I didn't talk about just yet, ran a 4.6. Not really worried about that. Explosive, showed me everything I need to see. He's not even really a speed rusher. More speed to power. You see the Khalil Mack comparisons. I think he popped off the screen. He did it in the SEC. He was the best player on defense. Had the game plan against him. Barely could stop him. I'm still sold. Still have him going 3 to the Cardinals. So now I want to talk about these off-ball linebackers. Owen Papo, 4.39, kind of more of a modern-day middle linebacker. What we're seeing, guys who can run. Maybe not as big of a thumper. Maybe needs to work on tackling. But Trenton Simpson, it's It's kind of hard for me because I still like Jack Campbell, and Trenton Simpson did run a 4.43. It's hard to look past that at 6'2", 235. Doesn't really lack as much size. Can also bulk up about 10 pounds to 245. So he may be that first linebacker off the board, and that's understandable. But I still have my guy Jack Campbell, who I'm very high on. Talking about instincts, I think a 4.65 was a good time for him. Probably expected him to run in the mid 4.7s, high 4.7s. He ran 4.65. At 6'5", 249, 37.5 vertical jump. He showed me that he is, in fact, an athlete. 1.59 10 yard. He can do it. He really improved his draft stock. For guys who were low, said maybe he's an old school linebacker. He'd be a top 15 pick 20 years ago. I think he can still be a high pick. Maybe not day one, just because who's really looking for a linebacker in the first round, but still one of my guys, him and Trenton Simpson right there. Another guy that really popped off my screen, Dorian Williams. Dorian Williams, he looked like Sonic the Hedgehog running with his dreads. He like Sonic the Hedgehog running his 40. But 4.49, 10-yard split was there. Explosive out of Tulane. We talk about true off-the-ball linebackers because some of these guys are probably going to convert the edge. But he's one of those true ones, and he's going to stick, play in the middle of the field. Probably going to have to work on his coverage a bit. But, I mean, as far as athletes, probably going to have to bulk up at that 228. We see that. As far as athletes, though, he can do it. He can do it. Watch the film on him. One of the modern-day linebacker. You're going to hear me say that a lot because we're really shifting as far as what a linebacker is in today's game. Another guy, Shaka Hayward, really popped off my screen for me. Explosive, bag drills, 6'3", 235. Not really questioning his size as much. And he still displayed some of that athleticism. So, I mean, this is a guy who you could probably look at as a mid-round pick. I already said it. And Demarion Overshown, another guy in that one of the top 5 linebacker conversations. As far as true off the ball, I think Noah Sewell's stock maybe dropped a bit. If you've seen him, you knew he wasn't an extremely fast guy. Ran 4.64, kind of stiff. But as far as a thumper, it depends on what your team really needs. In all honesty, it depends on what you need because he's still talented, just not an ultra-athletic guy. Not going to be asked to cover as much as some of these other guys. Yasir Abdullah. Linebackers overall pretty solid. Corners. Just got finished watching this. Like I said, extensive research. DJ Turner, a guy who I had going in the mid-rounds, 4.26 officially. So, I mean, oh my gosh. Just look at the screen with me for a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got about 7, 8, 9, 10. All of these guys, but we got 6 guys. Actually, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 7 guys before we even get to a 4-4. Okay? Corners jumped off my screen. I'm talking about some of the guys that I saw, and I'm kind of combining bag drills, athleticism, fluidness, hips that I seen just now in the draft combine. More than just looking at 40s. DJ Turner ran a good 40. He's going to do the on the field at his pro day. So can't really involve him into that equation. Can't really, evaluate him from that aspect. Film is pretty solid. But Deonte Banks, guy that I had slated in that first round, and he showed me everything. Let's look at his profile. 6 foot 197. Doesn't really lack size at all. 42 vertical jump, 1.49 10 yard, 4.35 40. The tape is there. Got some things he needs to clean up, but I mean, first round, all right. Had him mocked to the Ravens. I just don't see how he slides. Emmanuel Forbes is interesting because ran a 4.35, but let me know if I'm wrong on this. Let me know what you think about this, guys. 37.5 vertical, 1.4. I just didn't see it. I saw the 40 and that straight line speed, but I don't live and die by that. And when we got into the on-the-field drills, understand he's a longer guy, 6'1". Everybody's talking about the 166 weight, and that's room for concern too. But I just didn't see the fluidness. Looked a bit high in his back pedal. It's just a little bit of questions. I think he's an elite player, but he has some stuff that really needs to be worked on technically. has to bulk up. 166, 166 is just not going to cut it. I'm sorry. But the arm length, we see the arm length. I mean, a long corner. My best corner out of the day, probably sneaking into that conversation to jump. Devon Witherspoon, Christian Gonzalez, 6'1", 197, 4.38. I mean, I don't even need to talk about that. If we know Christian Gonzalez by now, we've seen the film. We've seen it all. Day one, top 10 pick. He's going to either be a Lion or he's going to be an Eagle. I think it's really that simple. And looking more like he's going to be a Lion after this performance. Look fluid. He doesn't exert any energy to backpedal, to transition. It's fluid. And that's what you want from a corner. When it looks easy, when it looks like he's not even trying, that's when you know you got a good one. Devon Witherspoon he had some hamstring things he had to deal with. So he's probably going to really do on the field, 40, all that at his pro day, but still high on him. The tape screams it for me. Didn't get a chance to confirm, but I'm feeling sold on that tape. Joey Porter, I think a 4.46 is really good for him. One of the more physical corners. Going to be a press corner, 6'2.5", 193. Shows some explosiveness. And I think, probably going to be a Commander, maybe a Steeler. One of those teams sneaking in that mid to the back half of the first round. But I saw some good things. He looked fluid as well. And that's really what I'm watching with these corners. Cam Mitchell, shout out to him. Clark Phillips, slot guy. 4.51, doesn't pop out the screen. Still sold, still fluid, still has ball skills. Nothing to worry about right there. Mekhi Garner. Julius Brents. Where is he at? Julius Brents, 4.5. Julius Brents is a long corner. 34-inch arm. 6'3", 198. He just looked different. He really just looked different. 4.53, not exceptional, but the vertical jump shows explosiveness. Probably going to be one of the more physical corners, but, I like it. Probably a zone corner. You probably just want to let him attack the ball instead of putting him in some man situations where he may get exposed a bit. Brian Branch, 4.58. Don't be concerned about that. Football player, top 15 pick in my book. Still sold, still fluid, everything. Going to be a slot guy as well. Mekhi Garner. These guys really ran well, performed well. I think this is probably the best position that I've seen on the field yet. As far as everybody, bag drills, agility, solid, really solid. Kelly Ringo surprised me with a 4.36. Knew he was athletic. Still got some questions about fluidness. It's just, like I say, Emmanuel Forbes, Kelly Ringo, they're athletic, don't get me wrong, but straight line speed and the fluidness, getting in and out of transitions, turning, ball skills, being able to keep up with these receivers is two completely different things. We got to understand that. So, feeling good about him. Maybe a first-round pick, but I'll still take a guy like Deonte Banks, maybe even Emmanuel Forbes over Ringo. Cam Smith, pretty solid. Showed some ball skills out there. Really did. Didn't have a lot of interceptions, but he showed some ball skills. And I think the thing for him, a lot of these guys clean up the penalties. We talk about Joey Porter, all these guys who like to get physical, bit handsy, got to clean up the penalties, but NFL coaching does that. Now, let's get to the safeties to wrap this thing up. Jordan Battle, pretty solid times. Like I said, these guys aren't running out the gym. They're safeties. Some of these guys are going to be playing in the box, kind of playing a tweener linebacker position. Some of these guys are too high, like Brandon Hill. We're going to see him in a too high safety set. Daniel Scott also looked good, a smaller guy. Not that big, but ran well. And that really improved his jab stock. We see the 39.5-inch vertical. He's going to show that. First year might not be exceptional, but I think he can develop into something in the right system. My guy, my best safety out of this thing, Sidney Brown. Sidney Brown showed it. I think he may be my Jair Brown. Antonio Johnson, they might have something to say about that. But as far as Sidney Brown, watching the drills, watching the 40, I felt really good. 5'10", 211, can play in the box at that weight. We see the athleticism popping out the screen. Jordan Howden. If you don't know Jordan Howden by now, go and watch the tape after this video. I promise you, you're going to like it. You're going to like what you see. 6', 203. We see the scores. They're not really high, but he displayed that athleticism. I think a team is going to take a chance on him, and he's going to get a chance, an opportunity to show exactly what he did for Minnesota in the NFL. with any prospect, it's some things that clean up on tape, but all we can ask out of a guy is to do his best. I think he put his best foot forward today, and that's why I'm high on him. DeMarco Hellum's also a solid day. Jamie Robinson, Christopher Smith. I mean, these guys looked solid. Rashad Torrance and Trey Dean, I wasn't really expecting too high of a time out of Trey Dean, but Rashad Torrance, I kind of thought a little something better would be on the board, kind of a low time for him. But I mean, overall, these safeties, and a little bit of this is still going on now as I'm recording this video, but these guys are dogs, all right? And I'm going back to Brandon Hill, showing you that it's not really a great safety class. Some teams may be looking for depth at the position. You want to go Sidney Brown. You want to go Brandon Hill. You want to go guys like that, Antonio Johnson. But you're not really looking for a plus starter in this safety class. That's going to leave me right there. Wrapping it up, I mean, I really like what I saw so far at Draft Combine. As you can see, this is a pretty lengthy video. But I got into everything that I wanted to talk about. I know you guys really appreciate the work in the extensive research. We're going to have some talking points in the comments. I already know. So go ahead. Let me hear it. Let me hear what you have to say. As always, I mean, thank you for watching. That's going to wrap it up, like I said, for this video. We're coming back tomorrow with the quarterbacks, my analysis of guys. Jaren Hall, a guy that I want you to look out for in that combine. Tanner McKee, another guy that I want you to look out for in that combine. Anthony Richardson is my guy who I have my eyes on. I mean, I'm looking at him. I'm looking for you, Anthony Richardson, in this combine tomorrow to throw that football. I need to see it. But thank you for watching. We out.